Hi guys, it's Michelle, and today's video is going to be yet another Mandela effect video for you guys. My background's super gamery because I'm at my gamer friend's place in New York and he is a gamer, so I'm using his background and I'm just like, what? I think so many people would be so confused that I have so many gamer friends, but I do. I kind of like this background though. Like, I'm into like the whole LED lights. I like this mic situation. Let me know if you're into it. We can start doing that. And I could like get a whole new setup because I think this is kind of cute. Or is it annoying that the mic is here? Anyway, you guys know I love the Mandela effect. You guys love watching these still, which makes me so happy because it just reminds me of a simpler time in life. 2016. I just love these videos. They're very nostalgic to me. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so the first Mandela effect that we're going to be talking about has to do with Michael Jackson. This is one that I've been seeing circulating all over TikTok recently, which I find to be pretty interesting because honestly, I don't have a fucking clue. Thriller album. A lot of people remember Michael Jackson wearing sort of a button-down shirt. I feel like that makes sense based on with what else he is wearing. He's wearing like a whole fucking suit. Why wouldn't he be wearing a button-down shirt? But no, he's always been wearing a sweatshirt, like a zippered up hoodie, and it just looks weird to me. It definitely doesn't look familiar. Like I said, I was never like obsessed with Michael Jackson, so I don't really know, but I personally feel like that's not what I remember. But let me know what you guys think. The next Mandela effect I want to talk about has to do with Anne Frank. I feel like if you're a kid born in like the 90s or / early 2000s, you definitely remember reading the Diary of Anne Frank. I feel like it's just a common thing, at least here in America. I'm assuming it's common in other parts of the world for that to be a part of the school curriculum. I, as well as many other people, always remember it being called the Diary of Anne Frank. Wrong. It's always been called the Diary of a Young Girl. Literally, what? Like, I'm sorry. No, that's so wrong. And I guess we can, say, okay, yeah, but everyone knew her as Anne Frank. We all read the Diary of Anne Frank, and it was fucking called the Diary of Anne Frank. I am positive. By the way, do you guys remember when Justin Bieber like went to the Anne Frank house and he wrote in like the book, I hope Anne Frank would have been a believer if she were alive in today's day and age. That was wild. I would love to hear what you guys remember, although if you say you remember it being called the Diary of a Young Girl, you're simply just a liar. Or from another universe, I don't really know. Next Mandela effect I want to talk about comes from The Wizard of Oz. I mean, I'm actually like not obsessed with The Wizard of Oz. I kind of was as a kid. I'm pretty sure I dressed as Dorothy like multiple times, but I'm obsessed with Wicked. Like, absolutely 100%. Like, I'm in New York City right now, and the last time I saw it is my 10th time seeing it on Broadway. I love Wicked. And I always 100,000% remember the line being in The Wizard of Oz, Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Actually, Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
I have a feeling, like, are you actually like the Black Eyed Peas? Like, I don't know. No. It just sounds wrong too. Like, when you listen back to it, I'm just like, no, let me know what you think. All right, the next Mandela effect that I want to talk about drove me nuts because I always remember the Dr. Dolittle movies. I loved them as a kid, and I always remember Dr. Dolittle being spelled D-O-O little. However, his name has always just been Dr. Dolittle, like just literally D-O little. On the movie poster, it genuinely looks like something is missing, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Let me know what you remember. Okay, the next Mandela effect is pretty freaking crazy in my opinion. I always remember, like, in the Bible, I mean, I'm not like a biblical bitch, but I feel like this is like kind of a common knowledge thing from the Bible, is the story of the lion and the lamb. Yeah, right? Those are the two animals, like the lion laid with the lamb, and it was like beautiful because obviously the lion is supposed to like eat the lamb, but whatever. I always remember it being the lion and the lamb. Apparently, in the Bible, it has always been the wolf and the lamb. And before you say, because I ask people about these Mandela effects before I film them to see what other people remember, and I asked my friend Kira, I was like, what's the like two animals that lie together from like the Bible? And she said the lion and the lamb, and I told her it was the wolf and the lamb, and she was like shook, but then she was like, no, it's like they say the lion and the lamb from in Twilight, so maybe that's where I'm getting it from. Totally a realistic possibility. if you had watched Twilight, but the first time I ever watched Twilight was only about a year ago. Anyway, I would not have known that this quote is existing in Twilight. Let me know what you guys remember, but I'm pretty sure everyone remembers the Lion and Lamb. If you say wolf and lamb, like, no, you're done. All right, the next Mandela effect is something that I cannot personally attest to, but so many people have asked me to talk about it, but I honestly have no fucking clue what you guys are on about. Not because I don't believe in the Mandela effect, but because I think I'm just too young for this. Like, I don't remember this happening. Ed McMahon apparently never worked at Publishers Clearinghouse and never used to deliver giant checks to people's front door. Because it seems like so many people remember this, but I don't know. And I don't know what Publishers Clearinghouse checks. I don't know basically anything about this, except I do remember in an episode of Full House, they specifically mention it.
It's great news. We may already be millionaires.
Full House is not even the only show that mentions this. This happened on Golden Girls, Friends, honestly many more, where they mentioned Ed McMahon delivering a check to people's houses. This never actually happened, which is pretty crazy because it kind of feels like the Shazam Mandela effect, because that is so specific and so random of a thing for people to remember, but then all of a sudden, just out of thin air, it doesn't exist at all. So even though I don't personally remember, I thought some of you guys probably would and would be able to comment on it, but I thought that just the facts of it were interesting, like the, residue from TV shows that we all know and love, remembering the same thing that we do. That simply never existed. Pretty fucking scary. All right, the next Mandela effect has been going crazy on TikTok lately, and I totally agree with it. It has to do with the Energizer Bunny. So there's a few different Mandela effects surrounding the Energizer Bunny. What I will say is I never thought or knew that Duracell had a pink bunny as well. Why would they do that? That makes no sense to me that the Duracell bunny would have ever existed. But what's interesting is actually the Duracell bunny existed first in 1973. People remember the Duracell bunny being white. I personally don't remember there being a Duracell bunny at all, but I do think that it makes more sense for it to have been white, because I think it's kind of weird that Energizer just straight up stole like their marketing. Like, that's so weird and specific. Like, it's like, why do they both have pink bunnies? Like, it's just, it would make more sense for the Duracell bunny to be white, which is what a lot of people remember. I personally don't know. Like I said, I don't remember Duracell even having a bunny mascot. I just think that's weird. I do remember the Energizer bunny, however. But the next Mandela effect about the Energizer bunny blew my mind. I always remember the Energizer bunny having a little battery pack on his back, like a little backpack, because to me that makes sense. I just feel like that's what it would look like. However, that has never existed, and the Energizer Bunny's battery has always been in its thigh. What? That's just such a weird graphic standpoint. I'm like, why would they do that? Like, I feel like it just looks dumb. Energizer Bunny has only ever been pictured with the battery pack in its leg, and I just don't fucking remember that at all. I definitely remember him wearing it on his back, like a little backpack. I feel like that makes more sense because it's kind of like a jetpack situation. It goes on your back. Why would it just be in his leg? Like, just chilling there. I just feel like that looks dumb. Please let me know what you guys remember, because I feel like it looks so out of place even just looking at it. All right, the next two Mandela effects have to do with people dying at times where I didn't think that they died. Okay, so Neil Armstrong, the first man to go to the moon, I would have guessed that he died like maybe the early 2000s. He went to the moon in the 60s. I thought for sure that he died in 1990s, maybe the 80s even. Neil Armstrong died in 2012. I just feel like that would have been a much bigger deal, and I don't remember it happening whatsoever. It's kind of giving me the Shirley Temple thing. Like, the fact that Shirley Temple didn't die in like the 90s is crazy to me. She died in 2014, which is nuts because, like, I remember 2014. Like, you know what I mean? Shirley Temple was alive the first time I met Ariana Grande. Explain that. I can't. I definitely do not remember Neil Armstrong dying in 2012, but if you do, let me know. I thought he died before I was born. Maybe I'm just dumb. Well, I mean, I'm not. I saw people talk about this on TikTok, so I know that it's not just me. Let me know what you guys remember. Okay, so the next Mandela effect about a car place, I think O'Reilly's is a car place, right? Anyway, I always remember it being called O'Reilly's, like apostrophe S. But the store has always been called just O'Reilly. So that means the song has always just been O'Reilly Auto Parts. And that is very upsetting to me. I remember it being O'Reilly's. 100,000,000%. Just looking at the logo looks wrong to me. Hearing the theme song sounds wrong. Let me know what you guys remember, because if you just say O'Reilly, I'm gonna be like, who the fuck are you? Plural. That could be. My whole family is from New York. They all have New York accents. I've noticed this thing that Long Island moms do, is that they're gonna pluralize everything. Like, I don't know what it is. I remember I talked about it in a Mandela effect video before about Nordstrom's, because I was like, oh my God, it's Nordstrom's. Like, everyone knows that. And people were like, girl, what? It's always been Nordstrom. And I'm like, is this because my mother pluralizes everything because she's from Long Island? Like, I think so. Everyone on Long Island pluralizes everything. I don't know, because I like the theme song sounds wrong and it also looks wrong. So I'm gonna say it's not a case of the Long Island accent and it is a Mandela effect. But let me know what you guys remember to be sure. All right, the next Mandela effect we're going to talk about has to do with Richard Simmons. Everyone knows this like iconic pic of Richard Simmons in a workout outfit, and everyone remembers him wearing sweatbands to the point where it is on several Halloween costumes that surround this specific picture of Richard Simmons. He's never been wearing sweatbands. Never. Which is just wild to me. So let me know what you guys remember, because I don't know. Whenever I think of Halloween costumes, it's always a really good place to look for residue Mandela effects, because people specifically look at, photos for reference when they're dressing up for Halloween. To me, I'm just like, obviously it makes sense for him to have these sweatbands, because where else would people just like fucking gather that information in their mind from? But let me know what you guys remember. Speaking of like residue Mandela effects, there was this really interesting one about the Thinker statue. A lot of people, there's two Mandela effects with the Thinker statue. One, people remember his hand being closed fist on his chin, and it's really an open fist if you look at it, which just looks so wrong to me. But then another Mandela effect around it is that people remember the Thinker statue having his hand on his forehead. I go back and forth with which one I remember, honestly. However, something that I think is crazy is there are so many pictures of people taking photos next to the Thinker statue where their hand is on their head, literally staring at the freaking piece of art and mimicking it. Why would they do it wrong? Please let me know. Like, that just makes no fucking sense. Am I right? I feel like closest thing to proof of the Mandela effect that we have seen in a while. All right, the next Mandela effect comes from SpongeBob. So I always remember the little jellyfish in SpongeBob having little flowers on top of it, kind of looking like the flowers that are in the Bikini Bottom in general. And the reason that I thought that they did this was because real jellyfishes actually have flowers. And I remember thinking it when I went to like the aquarium. I was like, oh my gosh, it looks like SpongeBob jellyfish. Flowers are real. The jellyfish just have dots on them, but I kind of remember it like that too. So I don't know. Please let me know what you guys remember. I saw this and it honestly just confused the hell out of me because I couldn't remember which one I remember. Like, I almost remember both. Let me know. All right, the next Mandela effect I want to talk about is one that I feel like I've talked about years ago, like eons ago. It is the objects in a mirror may be closer than they appear. Everyone knows that that is what it says on the little side view mirror. I know this because I am such a whore for looking outside of the window when you're like on a car ride and it's raining and you're pretending like you're in a music video, listening to music in like my iPod when I was like 5. That was me. I always remember reading the windows and the mirrors in the car for entertainment. I went on a lot of road trips as a kid, and I definitely remember it saying objects in mirror may be closer than they appear. Wrong. It says objects in mirror are closer than they appear. Says who? Because no. Absolutely not. The last Mandela effect before we get into our emoji Mandela effects is about Coca-Cola. So I was watching this TikTok. It was actually the Jumpers Jump podcast. Boys with like, I think they were like doing an interview or something. I don't know where they were. But they were talking about the Coca-Cola logo, and they showed two pictures of them. It was the Coca-Cola logo with no dash and the Coca-Cola logo with a dash. And I was like, okay, this is a stupid Mandela effect. Obviously, the correct one is the one without a dash. Coca-Cola logo has always had a dash in it, and I'm just like, bitch, who the fuck are you? I feel like I drink a lot of Coke now, well, Coke Zero. I swear that there was no dash in Coca-Cola, but please let me know what you guys remember. The last two Mandela effects are emoji Mandela effects. I wish I had more to share with you for emoji Mandela effects because they are my favorite. I haven't been seeing a lot lately on the internet, so please let me know if you know of any emoji Mandela effects that I haven't talked about before. I would love to hear them because they are my faves. Like, I'm actually obsessed. I think they're so funny and just like crazy, because how the hell are you gonna tell me that something that I remember existing just simply doesn't exist? Like, that's crazy. But the first one is the gnome emoji. I always remember there being a little garden gnome emoji. 100,000%. I feel like it's wearing a blue like kind of sweater. Simply has never existed. And the last emoji Mandela effect is a gummy bear emoji. I am so sure that this exists. I feel like it's the green gummy bear. It just doesn't. And I'm really upset about it. Let me know if you guys remember it as well. I also had a personal Mandela effect that I want to talk about. So my sister has these friends who have a dog and a cat, and their dog, I was positive, was an Australian Shepherd, which I don't know why, but like, and I have no idea where I would even get that from. I just knew it as an Australian Shepherd. This is their dog. I swear that this is a Mandela effect, because my sister and her husband went to visit them, and I was like, oh, like, let me see the dog. And I was like, who the fuck is that? I remember it being a fucking Australian Shepherd. If you guys have ever had these personal Mandela effects, please let me know in the comments below. I don't know if personal Mandela effects are interesting to anyone else. They're very interesting to me. So like, if you guys want to hear some, I'm down to like kind of make that a segment in these Mandela effect videos, like how we have the emoji Mandela effects. So let me know if that was something that you would want to like add in to read either your personal Mandela effects or some of mine. Let me know if that would be interesting to you. But if you have any and you want me to share them, let me know in the comments below any personal Mandela effects that you have. And if you think that would be an interesting segment, let me know as well. But anyway, that is it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of these Mandela effects. And like I said before, any personal Mandela effects or just stories about the Mandela effect, let me know. I would love to hear them and read them. But that is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, and subscribe for new videos every week. And I will see you guys later. Bye.